I was just remembering when a couple months ago, I actually had a bit of an emotional breakdown, and it's basically like the only time for like years that I actually sobbed, and I like sobbed for an hour straight, just as kind of like everything mentally collapsed, and it just kind of all fell apart. And I haven't experienced that emotion for like a very long time, and I feel like the only times I've experienced it is when I was really young, and then since then I've not really been aware of that type of feeling of being aware of my situation. And I felt like that was when I actually like woke up, when I actually everything just fell into place for me, and it was all so clear. And you know, I mean, I was fucking miserable because it is pretty fucking terrible situation. But yeah, I felt like that was the only time I felt clear-headed about it. I was actually emotionally aware of it. And then the only time before that was when I was like younger, like 12 and 13. But like for the past 2 years, besides that moment, I feel like I've just been I can't even explain it. Like I haven't experienced much emotion at all. I mean, I guess I've been happy almost, but I haven't been aware of my situation at all, and it has not set in for me much except for that single moment. And I'm starting to like kind of recall that emotion, sort of that self sort of awareness, emotional awareness about my situation, and it's just crazy because the last 2 years have just passed and nothing has happened. I don't even feel like I've really been living. I haven't been doing anything. I've been just sitting in my room watching retarded videos and playing retarded games, and I have not had like any recollection of even like any feeling associated with what my situation is and what I'm going to do in my life. And maybe that's not even that abnormal. I know some people end up just spending time in their room and they don't actually live a life. But it's just crazy to me because I felt like everything in that moment. I don't know how long ago it was. I don't have a good sense of time, but every single part of my life, every second I had to go through trying to reconcile how I couldn't do that, and how this was embarrassing, and how I was just a really unlikable piece of shit in this way and that way, and I couldn't change it, and having to trying to deal with every second of my life, every second of stress associated with everything I ever did, just felt like it all just fell apart and just fell onto me. And it really was just like the perfect storm. Like I felt like it really was a culmination of everything I was talking about. And I thought, wow, I don't want to be the retard. I don't want to live in my parents' house. I don't want to live a worthless life as a dumb, embarrassing retard. That's incompetent, and that can't, get any. I don't know. I don't even know what I wanted, honestly. But I just wanted to be normal. I just didn't want to be in this nightmare where I'm this embarrassing, just stupid fucking retard, and I couldn't do anything, and I was just horrible in every social situation. I didn't want to be alone for the rest of my life, and I don't even know why. To me, I feel like I could be happy being alone, but It terrified me then. I felt like some old part of me was waking up, and I was thinking, no, I don't want to be an alone retard for the rest of my life, just doing nothing and achieving nothing. And really, again, like I've said, what that means, what achieving something means, it's so little for me. It just means being a normal human being. It just means being a normal person that I wanted to be as a kid. Just to be the likable, talented person I saw myself as a young child. And that's the only ever time I felt like any inspiration to live life in a meaningful way since that moment was when I was really younger. And it's just crazy because I felt like the last 2 years have gone by, like since I was 14 to now I'm almost 17, with nothing happening and with me not really feeling anything about anything. Like I just haven't been aware of my situation. I haven't been thinking about it. The fact that I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life, the fact that, everyone thinks I'm an embarrassing, retarded asshole, the fact that everything I do just ends up being humiliating and disgusting and just backwards, and everything I say is backwards and humiliating, and fucking everybody hates me. Like, I never thought about it. It never set in for me. It's like I've not been able to comprehend it. I don't even know how to describe it, but I just feel like that emotion is setting in again. And it's nostalgic because it's an old thing. It's a thing I haven't felt in a while. Like, I don't know if I'm crazy, because if I describe the situation right and I'm not delusional and it's real, like, I should be sad about it, shouldn't I? Like, I should feel down. I should feel sad that I'm going to be alone. I should feel sad that I'm not going to be able to get a job or be able to get a skill or to just be able to be likable or have some influence on something that's positive. Like, I can't do any of that. And that everything I do is so fucking backwards and disgusting. Like, that should bother me more. That should be something emotionally, but I feel like it's just become mundane and I don't know what I've been doing, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not a big deal. Because I guess a lot of people just waste years in their bedroom or whatever. But just thinking about how 2 years ago my mental state has just been unchanged, and I've just been like emotionally nothing. And nothing has changed. I've not done anything. I've not talked to anybody. I've not learned a new skill. I've not gone anywhere. I've not thought about my life. I've not reflected in on myself or even thought about my situation or who I am. I've not even thought about my name or who I am or what I'm going to do or what my life is. Like, I don't even like associate my name with myself. I don't hear my name out very often. It's almost like I've forgotten it. I mean, I haven't, but it just doesn't matter. I don't know. I just feel like my fucking life has just been an empty shell. And I should feel something. Sometimes I do, but not very often. It's almost like, I'm becoming used to being the retard. I'm starting to be happy doing that. But then sometimes I wake up and I remember the emotion I first had when I started seeing how humiliating and disgusting everything I said was, and how I couldn't understand or respond to people in the proper emotional and normal ways, and so everything I did was repulsive and backwards and disgusting. When I was figuring that out, maybe when I was 13 or something, that was like crushing. Pure emotion I felt. I cried, like over the idea that I would be alone, that I would never be able to be a positive influence for anybody or on anything. And that I could never tell a story or talk to somebody or try to connect with someone or try to communicate an idea or talk about an idea without me messing it up and me coming across as selfish and retarded and an asshole. And no matter how hard I tried, I'd always just be the most unlikable fucking retard. It's like any other mental retard you could think of. It's like I wasn't really any better than that. And yet I wanted to live a normal life. I wanted to grow up, get a family, get a good job. I wanted to be a likable, talented, normal individual. And when I say talented, when I say likable, I mean that in the most base level way. But it was at least still something, And so the idea that I was just as like fundamentally retarded as like, any like the autistic people you could think of online. Like I keep using Christian as example, but just as autistic as someone like that, as unlikable as someone like that, as incompetent as someone like that in every social situation, every situation that's that requires human ingenuity. It fucking depressed me. It destroyed me. And it should destroy me. I should feel something about it, but I just don't anymore. It's just like so nostalgic to me. Just thinking about that emotion. Not nostalgic. Kind of nostalgic, but like bittersweet, but very bitter as well. Just thinking about when I was like 13 and I was discovering that I wasn't a normal person, that people would never like me because I'm just too retarded. I cannot communicate in a way that seems normal or relatable. All the emotion I went through, all the stress, the self-awareness I had about that, it was just like a lot. And this is an emotional roller coaster. And I never gave up, at least then, on the dream of living a normal life, of having something that you could say is like human, like social life or a good job or a decent property or just anything really. I just wanted to live a normal life. I wanted to be independent. And even back then, I had better standards. I actually wanted to have social communication. I wanted to be a likable person. I wanted to be fucking normal. And that's crazy. Yeah, no, like the fact that I was autistic and I was like the Spurg, that was crushing to me. That destroyed me, dude. I may have actually been depressed a little bit back then when I was first recognizing that. The idea that I would be just like some spurg that people would laugh about and would feel bad for, maybe, except not really, because I think I'm a selfish asshole. It's not trying, of course, but just, special needs, mental retard. And I mean, I really acted like that. Everything I said really was on that level, and so I think that's how I'd be perceived. That destroyed me. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be normal. I wanted to be likable and talented and have friends and, have a family and have a job, and I wanted to be fucking normal. I didn't want to be the retard. I didn't want to be the autist. I wanted to be just as normal as most people. I think that's very legitimate, and I don't think that it's stupid to use the word normal to describe things. I think there is a normalcy in society, and I think that's a good thing. I just don't think that I'm even close to it. Because if I ever try to express an emotion or a thought or discuss something, I always, so many ways that I can't even really explain. It's always backwards. It's always disgusting. I'll make it look like I'm talking too much about myself, or I'm being selfish, or I'm being inconsiderate, and it'll just be incoherent and disgusting. It won't just be kind of stupid and aloof. It'll be insulting and humiliating and absolutely backwards. I'll just look like an asshole. Just an absolutely disgusting fucking asshole. Retard. And that's not just me exaggerating things, Maybe my anxiety makes it worse thinking about it, but it really is fucking bad. I'm not able to understand the normal things to say and the normal ways to respond to things and how to understand a conversation or communicate with someone. And the way this manifests is not just in me being incompetent looking, but in it being like so humiliating and just disgusting, to where like I come across as an asshole, and I come across as I don't know, it's just I can't communicate. It's just so terrible. It's just like really funny how I went from all of these like hopes and dreams that weren't even that crazy, but that, I mean, you know what, they were still ambitions, I went from that when I was younger to just absolutely having nothing, working towards nothing, expecting nothing, caring about nothing. I've just accepted I'll be alone for the rest of my life. I'll just accept it, that I'm going to be seen as an unlikable fucking asshole, retard. The rest of my life I'm going to be never successful at any real skill. I'm never going to be happy with anything I can do, or be able to get anywhere in life. I've just accepted that entirely, and I feel fucking nothing. And I'm doing nothing. I'm feeling nothing. I have nothing, and I don't want anything anymore. I've accepted it. Kind of. But it's so crazy. Because I feel like I should have this be more emotional. There should be something here, but I feel like, I woke up in that moment when I was going through emotional breakdown, and then I just shut off again. And when I did wake up about this, I could not live with that for more than an hour. I could not fucking live with that. And maybe that's why I don't feel anything, because if I did, I would go crazy. I think when I maybe first started doing this, or probably a little bit before I started making these recordings, I still had like a little bit of hope. I my standards were a little bit lower, but I was thinking, I was gonna move in to a nice house. I mean modest house, but a private house maybe, because I do like solitude to some extent. But I was also like, I'm gonna have a social life. I'm gonna have a good job. I might go somewhere in programming or computer science or something, which I don't know if that's actually a super good job, but honestly, I didn't need much. I just need something that was consistent. And I was still planning for that. I was still trying to do stuff to get somewhere with that, even when this was starting. And I mean, I probably was a little bit depressed then about it, because it really did wear down on me. All the stress I would go through was like very, very vivid, and it really was like an emotional roller coaster. And I mean, mostly it was just going down. And keep crashing, and then I would have to force it up again, but then it would go down, then it would crash. And I really did care. I still did have hope. I still had something I wanted to achieve in my life. I still wanted to be normal. I still something that was like very emotionally vivid for me. And I mean, it's so pathetic. It's so pathetic that I even tried. But it's also kind of nostalgic, I guess. I feel bittersweet about it. Like think about how all the hopes and dreams I had as a kid, and how even when I was figuring this out, I was still trying. I was moving through the depression that could have happened with it. It really mattered to me that I was able to live a normal life, and that I was able to get somewhere. And yeah, that's just not the case anymore. There's only so many times that you can go through the emotional roller coaster of trying some skill or trying to connect with people, and then having that fucking collapse and crash and make you miserable. You can only go through that so many times before you have to just get used to it, and it has to just become mundane. There's only so many fucking times that stress that you associate with every action of your life, with every job or talent you pursue, and every person you talk to, stress you have with that. There's only so many times that can be vivid and be meaningful before it has to become fucking mundane, so you don't go crazy. Because that's every second of your fucking life you're experiencing that fucking crash, that emotional just turmoil.